This video is made with the sponsorship of Ecrotech New Zealand, one source for all your beekeeping requirements. Hi, Trev here from Trevs Bees on Facebook and YouTube. Today we're on to the next part of our box building exercise, and it's the painting of them. And I just want to show you and run through the preparation that I do before we throw the paint on. And literally it is just about to throw the paint on. But we have the building holes in the box. If you don't fill them up, it's a point for water to get into the box, into the woodwork, and thereby starting to rot. Remember that all my boxes are all fully glued and cleaned up, so the water's not going to get in down through the joins or anywhere. So we're just going to try and eliminate a bit more of the area for that. So how do we fill these? Well, we can use poly filler, but it's not designed for outside, and the wet and the rain will eventually wash it out. So I use this stuff called contact filler or contract filler. This is what the industrial commercial painters use for repairing holes in exterior stuff and interior, so you can use it inside or outside. A half kilo pot lasts for a long time. It doesn't go off. Has a little bit of tape, a little bit of paper that sits over the top of the filler, and it's just pick it up like this. So today we've only got a few boxes to do. We've only got 3 boxes to paint. Normally when I'm painting 50 to 100 boxes at a time. So if I'm going to get set up, I might as well do a whole heap of them. But just for the video, we're only going to be doing 3 boxes. I've already filled the holes in the other couple of boxes that we're going to do, and all I do is I just spread it over like that, fills those holes up instantly. I don't bother to sand it or anything. At the end of the day, they're simply beehives, and the bees don't complain. As you can see, it only takes a few seconds to fill each hole. A little jar of this is about $20, I think. You can buy it from all your paint factories, your paint outlets. Mitre 10, Bunnings, they stock it as well. The beauty of this stuff is you can paint straight over it even when it's still wet, hadn't gone off properly, and it'll dry underneath the paint quite happily. Any other blemishes that you see in the wood, you can fix all them up. Pack that up, and that's done for that box. Okay, next stage of the operation is to talk about paint. I use pretty much any paint that I can get hold of. I go to the, when I need a new container of paint, I go to the different painting outlets. I happen to like Dulux paint for no other reason than I like Dulux paint. Pretty much across the board they're all the same. There's a little bit of variation in the prices. I don't buy the cheap paint, some of the stuff that's on special. It tends to be a bit watered down. But what I do buy is what's called mist tints. So when the paint shop has made the operator in the paint shop has made an error and has got the colour wrong when they've tinted the paint, they can't sell it at the full price 10 litre container like this is something like about $140 odd. I can usually pick these mist tints up for something around about $50 maybe. If I don't quite like the colour, I get them to change it. They can usually change it slightly more grey or blue or whatever, and I have two colour paints, a dark colour paint and a light colour. And when I set my hives up, I set them side by side. I put a dark colour and a light colour side by side, so that that helps the bees with the orientation as to which hive they're going into. That's purely my method. It doesn't really matter. You can paint them all the same colour if you like. But having talked to the painters, the paint professionals, they tell me that nowadays that all these higher quality paints actually have a special sticking agent in them, so that you don't need to use primer undercoats anymore. So I just tend to put on 2 coats of this and that's it. So the other thing with that, so I'll give that a good stir up in a minute. We're not going to bother photographing that. You don't need me to see me using the stick going round. But I use these paint rollers, a little 100mm. As you can see, that's the other colour paint that I use. And I buy these in bulk, a 10 pack, and they're about $10 for 10. And if I can get in there, no, it doesn't matter. They've got a little nylon insert that holds in there, and they're pretty cheap. And I do not, the way I paint my boxes, I do not need to use a paintbrush. Okay, we're inside the workshop today to do this painting. Normally I'd paint them outside, but we've got a bit of a crud day today. It's raining and yucky out there and wind's blowing fairly hard, so we're going to do them in the workshop. But that's not a problem because I'm not spraying paint. The car's still inside here, and if the wife's car's allowed inside while I'm painting, then you know it's not making a mess. But I make up these little stands, and they are designed so that they can fit over the box like that, and we'll show you. So when we put that on the ground, we can then sit the box on there like that, and now I can paint all the way down the sides without having to try and get underneath it, and I don't paint too much on the floor. As you can see, there's plenty of paint on the floor. I don't paint the top or the bottom edge, because with acrylic paint it's always alive and always active, and if you put paint on there they'll stick together. So what I do is I just stack the boxes up like this in their normal orientation, and I can paint the whole box just like this without any hassle. So I've got my tray of paint mixed up, and I always put on plenty of paint onto my brush, onto the roller. Takes a little bit for starters to get going. And I just slap it over the whole box. I don't care about dribbles. I just make sure that I paint the whole box. Because these boxes are sitting right on top of one another, there's no paint getting on the top and the bottom surface. A little bit I don't care about. And all we do is we go around the box. Okay, so we're down onto the last end now. Just remember, make sure it's your painting clothes, even though I'm not exactly in mine. The wife gets a bit upset when I put on a good set of clothes and I come out here and do some painting, and then suddenly they're now shed clothes again. So this is where most people now need to get out a paintbrush. But with these little rollers, and you dab plenty of paint right on the end, and that's why I made the new style D handles, so that they will cover, so I can get up in there and paint those so much easier. So the next thing I want to show you is how I clean my brushes. Right, for all those who do any painting, here's my little tip to you. Trying to clean a roller brush is real pain. There's a lot of paint still in there. I've scraped all that down on the bucket to get all the paint back in there as I can. But what I've got here is an old flower pot. Drilled a couple of holes in it and put a couple of staples in here, and I've got a bit of wire. So that just hangs on here, and I can take that on and off as I want. I can use centrifuge to get the paint off. So I put that in there like that, spins the roller, and the paint comes out. And there we have now a reasonably clean paint roller. A little bit of paint on me, but it was only water. So that's it. No, it's not quite. In about an hour's time, I'll go and put a second coat of paint on there. It's water-based paint. It'll dry. It'll pretty quick. 2 coats. That's it. Job's done. Until they come back in for repainting in 3 or 4 years' time. And then what we've got to do in the next video is we're going to do stenciling for hive identification and such like. We'll talk about that later. So that's it for Painting Beehives from Trev, Facebook and YouTube. We'll catch you around the beehive.